It's Wednesday and I'm in the park. It is a tiny bit breezy out, definitely some overcast, which is a bit of a bummer because I think it was super moon morning today. At least the skyscrapers, uh, around Central Park South, and just the blueness of it with the glass and concrete buildings, brick buildings. Some of those buildings with their lights on. Yeah, it looks amazing. Yeah, especially those glass skyscrapers, because the reflection of the sky just makes them like a deep blue color. Yeah, I have no idea where the moon would be right now. I bet when the sun comes up in those brick buildings on the west side, it'll get baked in that morning sun. Will look pretty cool. I think even if the sun doesn't come out behind the clouds, behind the overcast, I think it's still going to look cool because it'll be like a diffused light, especially that morning orange. What's that called? Blue hour. And I don't know, there's another time that's associated, kind of around half hour either side of the sunrise and sunset. Golden hour, blue hour, and golden hour. Park's a little quiet this morning. That might be because everyone is out raging last night with the local elections. I haven't looked at the down ballot results, but the Mamdani momentum definitely carried through. Of course, if you take Sliwa's numbers and add them to Cuomo's numbers, then the race becomes a little closer. He probably won by less than at least what I thought he would win by. But, them's just politics, right? There was a map of Manhattan. There's a political analyst map that was forecasting what the voting turnout might look like, based on each candidate. I mean, there wasn't a lot of red for Sliwa. For some reason, I always thought Sliwa was from Staten Island. He's actually up here on the Upper West Side. In fact, he had his campaign party on 73rd on the West Side. Yeah, you can see the sun starting to come up, and there's a lot of clouds over there. What is it? Red sky in the morning? The Manhattan map was all shades of blue except for one little slice, which was, I think, like a yellow color for independent. Cuomo, I think, is a Democrat. Anyway, it was a little slice of yellow right by the Upper East Side. So not shocking if you start thinking about who his base is. That certainly played out too. And actually, I don't know if it actually played out like that, but that was the pre-vote map, which seemed to have a lot of truth in it. Not all deep, dark blue, hardcore Mamdani voters, but definitely shades of blue. They still have some pieces left over the marathon at the finish line. Boy, that sky is amazing. Yeah, they saw the big two towers where the banner was draped across. Oh, can I get a picture of this? Let me see if I can get a picture of it. Yeah, I got a picture. Hopefully, it's a wide angle, so it's probably going to get distorted a little bit. But it's a shot east with a little bit of those south skyscrapers, so you can see the blue and the orange. Yeah, who knows what's going to do with the scaling of the phone, and then processing. Who knows what the colors? What's going to happen with the colors? But hopefully, you'll see a little bit of a difference. Maybe those clouds will burn off in time when the sun gets up, and the moon will still be out. I don't get that feeling though. So maybe the moon is just too low in the sky to see it from here. Yeah, looks like the clouds are getting a little patchy with the blue spots in between. Yeah, it looks like they're loading up the pallets and a couple forklifts. Yeah, guessing they're loading up all the fencing. Actually, they might be setting up stuff for the parade. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit early. 20 days away ish. Yeah, I think they're picking these up. These are the gates stacked on top of each other and then placed on crates. The forklift will probably pick up and drop into the big rig. Looks like all the bikes at the 72nd and Central Park West City Bike stop are not there, are being used. Yeah, maybe when I get down to 72nd Street, I'll be able to see the moon. 72nd is a little wider and it sees all the way through into Jersey. You basically you see across the Hudson and into, I don't know what that is, right across the river up here. If it's Hoboken, probably closer to Weehawken. Yeah, no luck with the moon. It must be either just set down or maybe a little further north. I might have mentioned earlier, or maybe it's on the podcast page of the website. Yeah, I might have mentioned that there's two different types of episodes I'm creating. And those two types of episodes are cleverly named in the field. That's what I'm doing now. I've got the mic strapped to me, recording into my phone, and specifically into voice notes. I'll then take that and put it into a post-recording software, edit it down, and get it ready for you. So that's in the field. The mic will be open, I think what they call more omnidirectional, even though I've got some noise cancellation and some other, kind of pass-through filters. It'll still feel like I'm outside, which I think is fine. Kind of spur of the moment types of conversations. That's probably the last 7 episodes, or maybe all of the episodes to date, have been in the field. Me walking through the park, me walking through the Upper West Side, me walking through the neighborhood, and me riding my bike downtown. It's just an easy way for me to capture my thoughts while I'm walking around. The second type is what I've tagged in the studio. You're not going to believe this, but this is recording at home. A different mic, a more professional mic, in a quieter area, which I think will just produce a more, kind of professional conversation. I've recorded a few of those already. I haven't published them. I probably won't publish them. They're more tests. But I like that balance of the two, where one is more of a raw stream of mind conversation, and the other is more of a formulated approach, one that I've thought about a little bit more, even written down a script. Took the time, pull some time aside and recorded it with a professional microphone in a quieter setting. So why am I bringing this up today? I think this week I've been, talking about probably one of the more painful challenges in an organization. This thought process of, this is the way that we've always done it, and that's good enough. And ultimately, it's not a good idea. It's not a good plan. It's not good for culture. It's not good for hiring. Definitely not good for success, however you measure that. Well, I think that's the big challenge, especially for small or growing B2B firms. I think the solutions are difficult. You could bring in a chief revenue officer, chief operating officer, chief business officer, somebody who has authority to make change, chief marketing officer, to help build that new team, new process, defined outputs. And it's a lot of work. New processes, it's a lot of work across 2 teams who are most likely stuck in their ways. Yet in a challenging environment that we're all in today, whether that's from a labor standpoint, an economic standpoint, a technology standpoint. So how do you, on one side, bring in change, and on the other side, don't incur too much long-term costs? And of course, if you're the hiring manager, which is likely the founder or CEO, and if it is truly a small company, a growing company, an early company, that might be part of the challenge right there, right? The founder or CEO may not be pushing for that change either. And when that change comes about, they may not push hard enough for it. It's out of their comfort zone. They don't want to lose control. Yeah, I think if there's a small pilot project that teams can put together with the goal of better collaboration, better process, which might equal less process to go faster, key definitions of roles, and give that a 3 or 6 month run and see what the responses are. And giving the measurable goals, what's come out of that so far. Even if you don't hit those measurable goals, from a qualitative standpoint, what's the response? I think I'll try to record an in studio episode today, maybe address it a little bit more and be a little bit more specific. Keep an ear out for that.